Hello and welcome back by Hopster Coding. Today we're gonna cover if statements. So if you want to compare some numbers or something like that, it can be done this way. So let's get started. I'm gonna start with the main method. Oh, that's failed right there. Just like that. So let's create some variables and number 1 is equal to 5 and number wrong semicolon and number 2 is 6. You can't use spaces in the variable. You can't also start it with a number if you want to say num. You can't do that because it will give it error. Also, if you're trying to use a reserved name like byte, you can't use this because it's a data type. It's reserved words. You can't use boolean either. There are a few more words you can't use. Actually, just take a name you like, which can be used like something else in Java. So let's create a third number. Number 3 is like 10. So what are if statements? You want to say if number 2 is bigger than number 5, then execute this command. If not, execute something else. So it works like that. So you're gonna do if. You want to open the parentheses, so your statement goes into the parentheses. You want to say if, let's see, number 1 is smaller than number 2. So what's going to happen then? So because it's an if statement, you have to open a block. Actually, this is what code is going to be executed right between these curly braces. So it's gonna say system.out.println. I'm gonna print out number 1 is smaller than number 2. So if you're gonna run that, it's gonna say number 1 is smaller than number 2. If you're gonna make for number 1 7, which is bigger than number 2, it's gonna execute nothing because number 1 is bigger than number 2. So let's change it to something else now. If you want to change to bigger, if number 1 is bigger, not bigger than, like that. And you want to say number 1 is bigger than number 2, which is correct. If you're gonna put them on the same, both 6, and it's gonna say nothing because it's only bigger. You can also add a equal. Number 1 is bigger or equal to number 2. So actually you can place whatever you want. So like that, something this. So now it's gonna say, yeah, that's true. Statement is true. Number 1 is bigger or it's equal to number 2. If you're gonna lower, it's not gonna work anymore. It's gonna not execute this code. So what can we do if you want to do it if it's not matching? Like say, I'm gonna say number 1 is bigger and equal, but what happens if it's small? You can do like else. So what's going to happen if it's not? Just gonna copy that. Do not, because programmers are lazy, of course. So the statement is false. So number 1 is bigger or equal to number 2. It's 5. So it's gonna be false actually. So like you see, it's trying to say, oh, it's not bigger and it's not equal. So we're gonna skip this and we go to the else method, which is statement false. Yeah, it's basically how it works. There's one thing you can change. I'm gonna put this into comments. You can comment the whole field by just adding a backslash and a star, and just close it with a star and that. So you can type here, or you can just do one line by two. Okay, just saying. So like you can see, there's like one comment in this block here. Between this and this, there's one comment. You can actually do it so else on another way. So you want to say number 1 is equal to number 2. So we're not gonna use the block this time. We're just gonna print something out. Actually, if you just use one comment, you don't need the block. This is just to create actually a block, so it knows it has to execute all the code between this, like here. If you use it like this, then it's actually just gonna execute one line. That is actually the same as above. Except this is another method. It's checking if the number is equal to number 2. If you did like this, number 1 is equal to number 2, if you're trying to test this, it's not gonna work. Why not? Because you're gonna say number 1 is equal to number 2, so number 1 is going to be number 2, so number 1 is going to be 6. So do you want to compare them? So it's like double equal signs, just like that, to test them. So if number 1 is equal to number 2, statement is true, else not. So let's change it to 6. You will see, and the statement is true. That's correct. So like you can see, we don't need this around it. This is actually a block too, but you don't need it if you're one comment. If you want to change something like that, number 1 is 7. You want to have it around it, else you will only execute this line, and this will always be executed, which you don't want. So yeah, if you got one line, don't use the curly braces, else use curly braces. It makes it more readable, and yeah, easier to offer other people to get what you're trying to make. Let's make some advanced stuff, like, so let's delete that, or just place it in comments, so we don't print out every time the same stuff, like that. Let's add some spaces so you can read it better if you want to read it again. Right there. So what can we do to make it more advanced? Let's say we got an int temperature is like 18. Temperature is 18, which is not good. At the moment here it's not good either. Temperature, sure I spelled it wrong. Temperature, I'm not sure how you spell it, not English anyway. So let's just do it like that. So like that. If you want to make some more advanced stuff, you're gonna say like if temperature is lower than 20, then you're going to print out system.print line. You want to print out it's cold. So else you want to check. I'm gonna open a block right there. So you're gonna check if the temperature is higher than 20. So if it's lower than 20, like lower than 19 actually, from 19 to I don't know how low you can go. So it's gonna say it's cold, but if it's bigger than 20 or equal to 20, it's gonna go to the else block. So we're gonna do another if temperature. Let's change this to 30 to make it more hold more sense. If temperature, well, actually don't need this, man. If temperature is bigger than 30, so you're gonna compare if it's bigger than 20. If you're gonna compare it again, if temperature is bigger than 30 this time, what we're going to do then is gonna print something out. It's gonna say it's hot. And else, the only thing which is over, so everything else lower than 20 will be cold, and then bigger than 30 is hot. And else we're gonna say it's normal, like this. So if we're gonna run this, it's gonna say it's cold because temperature is lower than 20. See, temperature is 18, it's going to the if statement, it says, oh, it's lower than 20, execute the first code, it's cold. If you're gonna put a 35 and run this, it's gonna say it's hot. It's going into here, say, go look into that temperature is lower than 20. Oh no, it's not lower. Let's skip the code, go to the else block. Then we're going to this code, we're gonna check if the temperature is higher than 30, which is, because it's 35, it's gonna check this code, the first, and it's gonna say it's hot. That's how it works. And if you're gonna change it to 28, for example, it's still hot, but it's normal. So it's gonna run to all the code. It says no, it's higher than 20. Oh, it's lower than 30, so it's going to the else and say, isn't it out to print line? It's normal, and which you can see at the bottom says it's normal. Yeah, that's basically how the if statements work. You can also compare other stuff like characters, bytes, not only ints, so just say that. We'll be doing this more advanced in the next tutorials. If you're gonna go in loops and that stuff, you're gonna be more advanced if statements and more nested statements. This all goes nested if statements, because there is another if statement inside an if statement. So that's how it basically works. Yeah. So yeah, that's it for this tutorial. I hope you learned something. Like, share and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye.